Hey everybody, Hinterland Customs here. I'm doing a review video on like a kit review, I guess. This is the 1970 Impala Custom SS hardtop. It's called a Heavy Chevy. It's made by AMT, and it comes. It's one of those retro box art ones, so it comes with that nice little print there, painting of the car. So I'll get right down to it. I had tons of trouble with this kit. More trouble than I've had with any kit I've ever worked on. I don't know if that might not be saying much, but nothing seemed to go right. Starting off, if we can see the engine, I can't go in too far, it won't focus, but the tube headers, the ones on the left side there, you see, these ones on the right turned out fine. The ones on the left, you can tell they look a little funky. The problem was they come in two pairs, and then those two pieces go together, and then the end of that, of course, you can see goes into the header collectors. So with this, I can maybe show it better on the instructions here. These two pipes up top here were way too tall, and I had it together perfect so this would go into the header collector. But the pipes were too tall, and I had to cut them down. The problem with cutting them down is you're starting to take the bend out of it, so you're going to lose your angle for where the pipes are going into the engine block there. And that was one thing I ran into right off the bat. The instructions overall, a friend of mine said it's an AMT kit, throw the instructions away. I wish I would have listened to him now, because honestly, the instructions made this build more difficult, I think, than if I would have just done it my way. I don't mean that cocky or anything by that, but you know, I have a certain flow when I build a car, and these instructions they're all over the place. They're missing steps, and they're just lacking. You know, even from a technical diagram standpoint. You know, just even the way some things are drawn, anyway, I did my best. What else? The front and rear suspension, well, that wasn't too bad. But the whole exhaust system was it doesn't look very good right now. I'm still trying to work on it to try to make it look better. But the whole system was, I scratch built the pipes there, just put aluminum exhaust, because I don't think it comes with these little chrome exhausts, but the problem with that end of the exhaust system is, and I don't know if it is even technically necessary, but they've got you gluing like 3 different pieces on just to hook up to the exhaust pipe. So at the end of the day, you're basically trying to glue 3 broomstick handles together end to end. And there weren't any pins, you know, it's just all sticking out, floating there, and it just doesn't look good. To me, it was just, like I said, I didn't feel like technically it was making it look any better. So I just had to modify it a little bit, make it better for what I wanted, I guess. The engine halves did not fit well at all. You can't really tell here, but when it got down to the end of it, on the back end where the transmission is and where the drive shaft goes in, that was way off. That was way off to the point where I didn't know if I could even use it. And of course, if you try to jam that together to make it sound on the transmission end, then the engine block is then off. So I don't know if one of those pieces was molded wrong or what, but I had several pieces like that just didn't fit. Just weren't a good fit, and some of it's not as easy as just, well, you just sand this down, or you know, you just putty this in. Some pieces need to be pretty precise, you know, in order for everything else to fit it correctly, so that your end product, you know, comes out looking good. There's an idler pulley bracket between the fan belt and engine cover that didn't even go there. I don't know why that was in the instructions. I may be nitpicking a little bit, but there it is right there. That doesn't fit there at all. It does not fit. There's not a recess there. There's not a pin. From a room standpoint, there was just no way that was fitting. I'm not sure if that was meant, you know, I don't know. It didn't go there, so I left it out. And I've run into that. I've run into some things like that on engines before, where there's always a little piece somewhere near the fan belt that's supposed to go there. It doesn't always fit. Anyway, the exhaust assembly, I've mentioned that. At the end of the day, if I had this to do over, I would have scratch built all the pipes, all the exhausts, all that. I would have just gotten the pipe benders. I've got a pipe cutter here that worked good for me making the aluminum tubes just for the exhaust. But I would have got the snake bender deals and snake benders and just made my own. Excuse me, I'm trying to drink some coffee here and get through the day or the night. What else? The drag slicks. I've never ran into a kit that had the mag wheels fit to a back ring. So most of the kits I've made, it's either all one rim, it's all one solid piece, or if there's two pieces, the back piece has some surface area around it on the diameter of it, so you've got some surface area to work with, something solid to work with. These just come with, it looks kind of like a washer, like a thin washer, and you're supposed to just glue it flush to the back rim. Well, as you know, the rims are supposed to fit snug to the tire. So I had the hobby vise here. Thank goodness. I had to use that on this back tire right here. I think I had to re-glue it 3 times before it stayed. I could not get that to work at all. That was just a mess. For me, I guess maybe I like it simpler in some ways, where it's just give me a solid rim. We'll call it good. But that was what I ran into there. The firewall, you'll see here that the firewall, I've got it up where it's supposed to be. Now, maybe the dash wasn't up close enough, but there's a gap here. I had issues there. This is just a little rust to show some weathering. But the detail on the firewall is really cool. You can't quite see it from here, but there's a lot of detail on it. But I couldn't get this to fit for beans. Now, this may have been leading up to what I'm going to be talking about here in a little bit. This was an issue. Maybe I've got this too close. Normally you have a radiator, and this came with just this radiator wall. The instructions a lot of times will show, it'll just point to a general area and say put it here. So I tried to get this fit as best I could. The problem is you've got all this room here. So I don't know if this was actually supposed to go on the other side. There's a little ridge there. I don't know if it's supposed to go on the other side closer to the front. But there's something off here. I'm not sure if it's something I did. It's definitely just doesn't look right. And I had issues. The engine, I had a hard time getting the engine to fit along with the drive shaft and all that. I think the engine's tipped back a little bit, so hey, I'll call it on me every time, So then on the, excuse me here, hold the phone. On the tub, so on the back tub, you've got 2 tubes that come up, 2 pipes basically. You've got 2 pins that are on the, oops, hinterland, don't get messing with the zoom. You got 2 pins that are on the underside of this hood. And when you match that up and hook it on and then try to fit this body down, it doesn't want to go down. I had a really tough time getting this body down. I had rubber bands on it. I glued the hell out of that doesn't look too bad there, but the tub I had trouble fitting. Okay, this leads into the other issue I had that was probably my fault. So, and like I said, some of this I feel like it's just crud with some of the parts I had, and some of it's on me. Excuse me. So, normally when I build a car kit, I build the interior, and I put the interior within the tub, and then I lower that onto the frame, and then I put the body on. And of course the engine's already done, and the tires are already on it. That's usually how I build it. A lot of instructions and a lot of kits are like that. This one told me, I should put the interior into the body and then lower it all onto the tub. So I did that, and I think that was a big mistake, because I think when I put the interior into the body. It might have been off a little bit on the right or left, you know, just a tiny bit. But even just a tiny bit, you know, if it's like one of those things, again, with the engine or anything on this, if you have step 2 screwed up, it's going to throw off 3 and 4. It's just like building a house. If you have something out of frame, then that whole house is going to have issues, you know, throughout it. It's not going to be square, so to speak. So when I put that on there and finally got it on, we can't really see it here, but from eyeballing it earlier, the right side body was closer to the tub than the left, so that could have been an issue. Put that on there. That won't sit on there right now, but decals. These went on fine. The Krager, I don't know if you can see that. The one on the front windshield went on fine. I put some on the back here, just some sponsor type ones, went on fine. But these waterside decals, I had a terrible time with them. They were messing up. I had at least 50%, if not more, that I tried disintegrated. This one was a tough one here, and that's just I'll put it on me. But you know, I've put these on before on other car kits, and I have no issues. Excuse me, sounded like Max Headroom there. This one started breaking apart here and here and here, and I tried to piece it together on the car, and I just took it off. I just bailed on it, and I just left it as is. I think it looks fine that way. I'm not a big decal person. It depends on the car or anything. I like just a solid car body color. I'm not, you know, but I like the way that turned out. I think I'm going to be okay there. Some of these littler ones, these ones on the back windshield, they're fine. Those little ones, they work, excuse me, gosh, they worked fine. But some of the longer ones, like I had one that said Goodyear, I was going to put, come on, focus. I had one that said Goodyear that was going to go on the back windshield. I had 2 of those, and I axed both of them. Whoops. Probably should quit while I'm ahead. The USA license plate, different license plate stickers. I always like a license plate. The one I wanted was the one that just was black with silver SS on it for, you know, SS custom, and those both broke apart. Okay, so when I do water slide decals, I take the decal with the tweezers. Okay, I'll hold it in the water for 8 to 10 seconds, and then I throw it onto a paper towel, and I let it sit for about 20 to 30 seconds, and then I dry it off a little bit, the excess water, and then I slowly move the decal off. Now, everybody has a different way they do it. Let me know what you think of that. The method worked fine on the Impala. I recently did that 58 Impala that was the red metal flake color. Others I had no issues, but this one, these decals, just some of them just disintegrated, literally, just broke into multiple jigsaw puzzle pieces. So that was that. The windshield, neither one fit great, and that might have, I don't know, that might have been that whole thing where it's just, I don't know, that doesn't look bad there. But over here I had excess on the side over here, and I had to cut that off, and I thought it was slid over, but every time I looked at it, it wasn't. So I might have just been kind of almost excess flash, if you will. So that's it. I better cut this off. But I'm not slamming AMT. I'm not slamming this kit. I'm just voicing, you know, things that I ran into. What from the instructions to a lot of pieces just didn't fit well. And then, you know, like I said, I'll put some things on me, like the interior didn't fit with the body, where I put the interior in the body and then tried to put it all onto the tub. And it is a little different because this was all open, and a lot of builds I do, maybe this is more enclosed, so you've got a full body, and so it takes a little bit more elbow grease to make sure everything fits right. But if I had it to do over again, I'd scratch build the firewall, the radiator. That's how I feel right now, because it's just been a frustrating build. And once this matte finish dries up, hopefully I've got something decent. But this was frustrating, and I just thought I'd do a video and just show what I did and what I ran into. So thanks for listening, and I think I covered everything and bored everybody enough. So anyway, that's it. So Hinterland Customs signing out.